Well, good evening. It's Robert A. Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom. And tonight I want to talk about dissolving my third world mindset. And what that's about is how the world has been stuck in the same vibration, same mindset as our prehistoric people. Because we've always been coming from lack and there's never enough and what are we going to do? And we've really been taught by a banking system that disallows everything because we've been hooked in the banking system and the powers to be and this system, paucity and scarcity. And that is what we really expand of today. And people think everything should come easy and people think that life should go on without any challenging. And that is where we fall into the crevasse and the cracks of being slapped by what we know and how we've been taught and by our ancestors and our other people. So as I open up to understand that life is always going to teach me something new, whether I like it or not. And it's always going to be something to keep us from living our dreams, but it'll keep us from expanding out of ancestral anchors and ancestral anger that the world encompasses today. We never will get beyond it because we're stuck in what we know. And as we're stuck in what we know, we stay where we forever are because what we know is what everything our parents and everybody taught us. So as I open up to this and I expand to the wisdom of something new, I really stop being stuck in the mindset of paucity. And it's an acidity of lack. And that is where the world lives today. And when everybody finds something good, they really start trying to do something else. So as I stopped doing that and I started really expanding my own self, I really opened up to a new wave of wisdom. Because what society wants us to know, it's really what we desire to know. And how are we taught that you have to be this or have to be that to expand your life, rather than just entertain expansionism inside, but entertain your own wisdom, innovation, and talent that allow you to move forward and see life in a better, bolder way. And when I said the third world countries and the third world mindset, look at the third world in person. How does that fit in you? As I understand it now and I see it, the country and the world has really evolved in the same mindset as our ancestors have. We've never grown into a modern moxie to understand there's enough for everybody, but it comes through innovation, wisdom, inventing something that expands society, not something that steals from society, such as drugs. Drugs and alcohol steal from the society, and that is an old way of thinking. The smartest thing I ever did is when I quit drinking 21 years ago. It's the wisest thing, not the smartest thing. The wisest thing, because alcohol will forever bind you into something you never ever been in before. And that is brought to us from our parents and ancestors. So as I look at this and I look at this out in the world today, how is all the third world countries trying to live exactly as they did yesterday? How is the traditions of countries and people actually the limitations, some of the limitations and the violence that people experience today? And it's like them people down in New Zealand, like the people in New Zealand. I want to send my prayers and all my good thoughts and all the inspiration in the world to expand them out of there. But how is white, the supremacist, actually ancient thing that carried on in our life? See, people are afraid of life and they're afraid of many things. But what we're really afraid of is our own abilities and ourselves. But we really get caught up in trying to keep up with the Joneses, and we really get caught up in money. And we get caught up in the power of money, not the energy of money. Bill Gates and them guys giving away money, that's the energy of money. Those who use the power of money, such as drug cartels, that's the power of money. And they let money control their lives, and that's what we do today. We let money control our lives rather than our innovative wit to walk internally, tantalizing today's enterprising events that carry us on in our lives. But we get so caught up in everything that's going on in life, we forget to look at the wisdom within. But we also are caught up in this third world mindset of, I have to have the power of everything. But really, when you're caught up in the power, you're shutting down your innovative self. And as I look forward and see the world and look into the world, the power, people think they have to control people to have power. When you got to control people, that's a fear. That's a fear. You're scared people will not like you, but you're really afraid people will see you don't have the abilities to expand them. And if you look at the leadership of the world, it's all contained in arrogance. And I know what's best for somebody else. And how we've lived, I know what's best for everybody else throughout the world. And how are we stuck in the same place we were since the beginning of time without us realizing the only thing that's advanced is technology and medicine. But how is the medicine today actually some of the causes of the diseases in the world today? See, things have a smoke screen up front and a nice shiny glow to them, but when you rub off the veneer or the little shiny stuff, you start seeing what's really occurring inside. And if they cured and everybody started, if they allowed all the third world countries to start expanding of wealth, what would happen to the cheap labor and the cheap stuff of the world? That's what they're afraid of, letting go of being cheap. The world is too, especially the United States right now, we're too cheap to move forward, and we're too scared to let people have the power of their own thinking, because they control us through opioids, drugs, alcohol, and media and school system. Actually, we are controlled by things we have that are supposed to be for us. And the world fears people that are inspired to experience life, rather than those that are going from womb to tomb without ever entertaining their own wisdom. Because wisdom will expand the world, as knowing will keep us where we're at today. And that is something I understand now. And I really have a large expansion to go through there, because it isn't the change of the world, it's expanding of the wisdom of people that scares the powers to be, because the powers to be have been in power and in control since the beginning of time. And what that shows me is we've all kind of lived our own life, but we've never ever stepped beyond what the books have taught us. It's the word called Newman. It's N-U-M-E-N. It's a spiritual leader. It's our Newman nerve that will expand us beyond where we're at, because the world is invisible. It's our thinking in the physical world that control us. And we want to stay safe, yet we want everything in the world. The difference between wealthy people and working people is wealthy people trusted their abilities. And I ain't saying they all did it legally and they all did it but they trusted their abilities. But the main thing they did is they sat through the turmoil and almost gone broke and almost losing everything, or have lost everything 3 or 4 times. The difference between wealth and success and failure and living in poverty is being willing to fail your way to success, because you will fail your way to your successful. It's a hard thing to understand, but it's a new concept, because everybody that's failed has always been made fun of or been the town gossip. But in the end, who ends up riding away most of the time with all the wealth and desire? It's those that were willing to fail. If you're willing to be different and more daring than the other people with some wisdom and innovative talent, but not to be off the deep end in risk taking, but being a risk taker with wisdom will expand the world. But being just a risk taker with just throwing everything to the wind, you'll probably be in the wind. And that is something I'm really opening up to. But I ask myself this question: how do I encompass third world mindset? And the third world mindset is really the definition of lack, but it's a fear of people having something I don't, or having more than me. And it was a selfishness on my part. And that's something I get to admit now. I was selfish in my own life. But now that I've outgrown that, and selfishness is trying to serve others, but yet wanting something you're doing something for them. That's what the selfishness is. But really, people are selfish because they never want to trust themselves, and they want it easy and they want it sleazy in this world. And that happens all the time. But the thing we have to open up here to do is understand the history books are wrote with a third world mindset and a power and warmongers as the writers. So they want to keep us in the control of their warmongering ways. War has helped, but war has never stopped because powers to be like their wealth from war because it's big wealth. But here's something we can let go of. War is a third world mindset. Inspiration, innovation, imagination, intuition, and the will to walk through and enact on it is the power of prosperity. Money isn't always prosperity. Is inner wealth, is inner peace, and peace is just a feeling. And that's something else that we're really afraid of, is feeling the grandeur of life. Because when you feel the grandeur, you feel the sovereignty of self. Seeing everyday love, feeling emotions that expand mojo, optimism, tantalizing internal opulence, naturally seeing life through an entrepreneurial eyes, realizing the whys of me will take me everywhere I desire to be or to go. But it's really about galvanizing our optimism and understanding the world is going to throw curveballs, and they ain't going to throw curveballs for me to hit. They're going to go throw curveballs trying to hit me. It's my willpower, my wisdom, and my gut gall to walk through it and understand all the tarnished and darkness on a challenge is nothing but silver lining wisdom waiting for me to expand of. And I use the word expand of because when you expand of, you feel the freedom of it. You ain't locked in anything. When you live of the world, you're above the fray of the world. But when you live in the world, you're in the muck and the mud and all the crud of the world has to offer. That is where the third world mindset comes in. If you look at the inner cities and everybody that's having a challenge, they stay right in the darkness of what is wrong. Why is this happening to me instead of how is this for me? It's just simple changes of questions will expand your life. But when you try to stay in a stifled state of mind, you're binded in a third world mindset. And it's easy to see once you open your eyes and start witnessing the world through a spiritual savvy that of understanding the world is waiting for me to step out of the dark of the past into the light of now. To naturally open wisdom and the individual innovation that will expand the world out of the warmongering ways. And it's really dissolving that third world mindset that we all have. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I've had it and I still have it. But what I'm willing to do is dissolve it now. And yes, everyday life is going to throw experiences and events at me to test me every day to see how far and how I've expanded out of it. And some days I'm going to win, and some days are just going to be days. And them days are actually the ones that seem disparaging and discouraging are actually opening up the light of now because you're fissuring the old events of your life that prevented you from moving forward and onward and upward. So as I now understand that life is a freedom of letting go of the third world mindset the world was taught, and I taught myself this because I listened to my circle of influence rather than my spiritual savvy that's within me. How many times has something went wrong in your daily life that your inner self has told you never to go there, but you didn't listen? Pick me. It has me many times. Many times. I probably couldn't, this show, there probably ain't enough hours in the day left for me to tell you how many times. But it isn't how many times. It's how willing am I to get up, walk up there, and step forward for the next event. Because everything that stops me is opening the way, but the only one that can stop me is me. And if I'm liberated enough to understand the outside sources and the mystical sources of the world, they're going to test me every day to see whether I'm the person I am or the person I desire to be or the person I was. It's always up to me and nobody else. The only one that can really do something to me or hurt me, caused me pain is me. And you usually think heartbreak is thinking pain, liberation is relishing the experience with the person or the event of life. And that is where we're at today. Life is a lighted internal freedom every day. We lighting internal freedom every day because it's me that is free. The rest of the world is going to test me, but it's how I listen to the world without any competition and arrogance. That is where I expand out of. When I let go of the competition and the arrogance and understand the competition for me is to me be a better person and listen and lift my own self higher onto the pedestal of my peace and prosperity I desire to experience. It's about sitting on the mountain of money, overlooking the oceans of opulence, dancing with my dreams, feeling my esteemed energy light up the world and my life in a bright, bold way. That is where I really am beginning to see the winning of my own self. And it isn't the money that is going to do it. It's my willingness to be at peace with my own daily events, letting go and dissolving that third world mindset I taught myself through the circle of influence that I encompassed as a youngster to today. And how do you see the world through as a third world mindset, or it doesn't? But it isn't about having the third world mindset. It's about willing to understand it's there. And once you understand it's there, you can let go of the despair and open up the flare to feel love, appreciating internal revolutionary energy. Because the energy of life will expand the new enterprising resolve, galvanizing the yazz and the yazz within you to feel the power of me. And when I can feel the power of me, I set myself free. And I talk in the first person there because I want everybody to hear it. It's the power of me. Say that to yourself. That magnificently expands and enlightens my life with wisdom, innovation, talent, and wealth and health. And with that, I'm going to say good night. I am Robert A. Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom. I am a published author. My books are available at amazon.com/author/Robert A. Wilson and howdiditeachmyselffear.com and on my website, mycowboywisdom.com. It isn't about the challenges we encompass. It's about the celebrations that we experience by expanding out of the challenge and expanding out of the outcome we desire. And so with that, I'm going to say good night, and we'll see you Thursday night. And I don't know what it's about, but we'll enjoy it and have fun anyway. And good night.